research report shows that it costs companies, get this, between 5 to 25 times more to acquire a new customer than to keep an existing one. The research from Bain Capital shows that a 5% increase in retention rates can increase profits by 25% as companies face greater pressure to grow both quickly and responsibly. They must increasingly depend on technology to maintain an efficient line of sight around corporate goals, improve collaborations within growing teams, and boost customer happiness and retention. Joining us to discuss this is Kendall Ananyi, founder and chief executive officer of Tizeti, to West African solar-powered internet service provider. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening to you. What are the challenges that companies, specifically venture-backed startups like yourself, are facing?
Once you reach growth stage, which is you start off as an early stage startup, and then you're trying to get to product market fit. Once you get to product market fit, which is you found the customers that can use your product, you now start to grow that market and grow your startup. Right, and this would typically be after like a Series A and to Series B. You now start finding out that as quickly as you're acquiring customers, you might also be losing customers for different reasons. Maybe they move out of your location, maybe they're not familiar with the product, maybe they were testing your product, as the case may be. And so you find out that while you're spending a lot of your marketing dollars acquiring customers, there's all of these customers that you're leaving behind, which we all tag as churn, right? And as you grow, you find out that your churn is growing. And one of the things, if you look at where the economy is now across the world, the markets are down, right? This is a time for people to actually think a little bit and be more creative about how you can retain customers a lot more and watch your churn. I think for us in Tizeti, one of the things we quickly realized at the beginning of the pandemic, March 2020, we saw that a bunch of our customers were not opening their offices and moving to their homes. And all of a sudden, we're seeing churn rise significantly. And because we're monitoring it, we're able to adjust and quickly adapt and using our own service, which is Wi-Fi call, which allows you to, is a voice service. It provides you APIs, provides you ability to call people with a computer, a phone, mobile phone or a desktop, and an IP phone. And we found that just automating that process of reaching out to our customers helped us improve our retention by almost 35% over that period. And we continue to still use it too today. And so churn is a big thing, and our service Wi-Fi call would help startups at growth stage to be able to reach out to your customers. And if you understand, even within the local context of Nigeria, people still want to be able to call someone. It's great early stage. You start off with chats, bots, and all. But as you scale, you find out that reaching out to your customers, being able to get feedback over the phone is very important, and that's where Wi-Fi call shines. It really shines there.
Agreed. We love charts on this show, but as you said, charts, it has to go beyond charts and reaching out to customers and looking at those important metrics. How can tech help startups to stay lean, adopt modern processes, and set themselves apart from other established competitors?
Good. So most startups, once they've grown out, they'll have like a customer relationship management system, which is where you store your customer's name, their phone numbers, their email address, and that's usually your focal hub, which connects to your portal, which they use to interact with you. And so you have this data that you can actually, if you wanted to reach out to your customers, it's cumbersome, right? You have to, first of all, extract the customers that you want to reach out based on some criteria. So for example, me, if I wanted to reach out to our customers in Lekki Phase 1 to tell them about service or just to remind them that we exist, you'd have to download that into a paper file. Then someone has to take a phone, manually enter the phone numbers and call. You can think of how cumbersome that would be and how much of personnel you need to do that. But with a system like Wi-Fi call, you can automate all of that. You can create APIs that can connect directly to your CRM and then extract the information you want, and it eliminates all of the manual process of entering a wrong number. And even goes beyond that. Because you've connected your CRM to your customer's database, you automatically have call ID. So when a customer calls you, you can actually look at their name, and it can pull relevant information. For us in TZ, it pulls up your expiration date, pulls up your last payment, all within the same system. If you compare that to the cumbersome system most startups, when starting out to use, you can tell that you can get a lot more done and be more efficient by using Wi-Fi code to connect to APIs. And building tech is what startups really shine, and that's where we differentiate ourselves with large companies. So having our team and Wi-Fi call interact with you and be able to expose those APIs that you use for a voice service is really valuable. And again, I kind of estimate the fact that even marketing, so even acquiring customers, let's say you wanted to reach out to a number of customers, you have a long list of users. Maybe you did some kind of experiential marketing, a roadshow of some sort, and you want to reach each of them. Same thing, the Wi-Fi call APIs can pull that information and dial, and all the agent has to do is just keep dialing till someone picks up, and then you can talk to them. We've seen lending startups use that too to follow up with their customers for payments. Right, is way better than trying to get it to someone calling and trying to redial and all of that. So using the APIs and automating all of that process with Wi-Fi call can help startups significantly.
All right, so we've talked about churn, we've talked about customer retention, we've talked about how to stay lean. So what about, well, here's a two-pronged question here. Fast growth or efficient growth, or can you achieve both?
Also, efficient growth. This is the period where everyone has to stay lean. So one of the things you would do as a startup founder, as a CEO, is you look at your P&L, right, and you see the items that you basically would typically spend on customer acquisition. You look at the channels that gives you the right bang for buck. So the leanness. So for example, if you did online marketing, right, you would want to switch out how you're putting out your display ads to be sure you're collecting the data. And this is data, again, that goes back into the CRM that you can plug back into Wi-Fi calls. So you want to be ensure that you're using only the top channels that you use to acquire customers when you're trying to stay lean at this point in time. And same thing, you also want to increase your touch points too. And also, you never away from experimenting too, which is one thing with marketing and growth too. You should also try new ways of acquiring customers. Right, so not the traditional ways that you're used to, do something completely different that nobody has thought about. Right, that's that's one good thing about marketing. The more touch points you have, the more likely you are to acquire a customer, because something you've done in the past rings a bell again, and then they can not acquire a customer. And then same thing, things like work from home is way cheaper than coming to the office, right? So balancing that out, ensuring that the right kind of personnel are working from home versus everybody coming into the office, and then things like getting rid of your office space. I know it used to be cool a couple of years ago when you start up. Once you raise funding, you get a new office and announce it. All of that is going away with trying to stay lean and growing in this through this period.
Excellent stuff. Kendall Ananyi, founder, CEO of Tizeti, thank you so much for joining us to talk about tech and how to stay lean, improve on churn, and so on and so forth. Really great conversation with you.